Hi, and welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and Goodreads as BookishStitcher, all one word. I hope you had a wonderful week since I last podcasted. I've had a really fun and wonderful weekend. My husband basically pushed me out of the house on Saturday morning because I haven't been out seeing friends or anything for weeks, months, couple months, and just because with my daughter having the allergic reaction, I didn't want to leave her here alone, and gas to drive somewhere and money to eat food there and stuff like that, eating out, and so I just hadn't been going out anywhere, and my husband was like, go have coffee with your friends who you miss dearly, and just go do it. You'll be okay. Faye will be okay. My daughter will be okay. And because she's off the steroids now because she has her allergy test next week. So if you have any spare moments, send some good thoughts and prayers our way. She has her allergy tests this upcoming week. And I'm a little nervous, but so she wasn't on her steroids or anything. But she was fine. I left and I went up there and spent the morning up there and had coffee and knit with my friends and so many hugs, and it was wonderful. And we're making plans to go because at the end of this month, the end of June, is the Houston Fiber Fest, and I'm going to go down to that. I have a friend that doesn't live in Houston. She's my best friend. She doesn't knit, but she lives a little bit outside of Houston, and so I'm going to stay with her so I don't have to pay for a hotel, and then I'll just drive up to Houston the rest of the way on the day of the Fiber Fest. And I was talking to my friend Susanna, who is the designer Susanna IC, and she never buys anything at festivals ever, partially because she is a designer and she gets sent so much yarn, I think mostly because she's a designer and she gets sent so much yarn to knit with because people want her to knit her beautiful patterns out of their yarn that she doesn't really need yarn, but so she doesn't buy any. And I told her that I'm going to be sticking by her at the festival because I cannot buy any yarn probably till Christmas. So it was just, she was like, yeah, stick by me, I'll help you. So that will be fun. But it'll be just great to really see some friends from down there who I haven't gotten to see. I'm really looking forward to seeing my friend Summer, who hosts Kitchen Stitches, or is one of the 3 hosts for the Kitchen Stitches podcast. And I'm just so excited to get to see her and hang out some with her because it's been a while since I've gotten to hang out with her. And so, yeah, that was it. And today has been pretty good and relaxed. Just basic Sunday stuff that we do every Sunday, but we did have a very yummy breakfast of some scones that had walnuts and toasted coconut, which was wonderful. And I have some tea steeping. This is some David's tea, and I'm making white nectarine, and this was my Mother's Day present. It's a little bit leaky right now, but so you steep your tea in here, and then you have the ice, and it makes iced tea. And so you take it, it's kind of the fun part, and you push it down. And keep pushing, and then you can drink it just like that. And it's a great travel mug, and I absolutely love it. So anyways, my tea ready for me. But I have some knitting to talk about and some finished objects. So I finished the hat that I was working on last week that I had started for the charity at Grammy's Hats, I believe. And this hat was knit out of Cascade Cherub DK, which is really like a sport weight. So I made the sockhead hat, but I didn't do as much ribbing because I did not have as much yarn. It was a very small skein. I think it was 180 something yards. But it's beautiful. And it's amazingly soft. If you ever needed yarn for a baby blanket, I think this would be a perfect one because it's amazing price point, and then it's 100% washable for the new moms, so you don't have to worry about it. And they had a vast array of colors, so that was great too. But that's the one I had for that. And I got this yarn months and months and months ago at my friend Enid's store, which is Yarn Barn here in San Antonio. So if you're ever in downtown San Antonio and want to go visit a great yarn store, it's the Yarn Barn. My friend Enid runs it, so there's that. And then my next thing, I worked on this almost exclusively Sunday night. Basically, that was all I worked on unless I was in the car because I didn't want to take this giant shawl out. But Sunday night and then Monday when I was home, and I wasn't reading because I will admit to being stuck in finishing up a book on Monday. But this is my Canopy shawl, and it is blocked, and it did soften up quite a bit with it's a BFL cashmere silk blend from Neighborhood Fiber Co. And it blocked out enormous. So last time you saw it, I was almost halfway done, but less than halfway done with the applied border. And now I am done. And I entered it for prizes, and because the whole reason why I was knitting this is because I had gotten this yarn at Rhinebeck to knit this exact pattern, and the designer was having a knit along for her shawls in her group, so I thought it was the perfect time to knit it. I don't know if I won anything yet. Maybe, fingers crossed, I would win something that would be amazing. I never really enter. I always forget to enter the pictures. But I won something years and years ago, but I never actually got my prize. So, but yeah, this is beautiful. And I think it will get a lot of wear out of it. And it's funny because on my screen, I've always been telling you it's brighter, but I was watching it back one day, and it shows up correctly, I believe, probably on your screen, but on my screen it's not. It's a little bit washed out when I can see it. But it's great, and I really envision, do you do this with your knitwear? Do you ever like envision the outfit that it would go with? I envision this with like a white shirt and then some dark, very, very dark indigo like jeans, and then I have these white lace kind of Tom's moccasin kind of sandals. And I think that that would be really cute. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I definitely do that with my knitting, where I envision the outfits, especially when it's something like this where I don't typically wear yellow, but it was so much fun to knit with yellow because it's not a color that I dislike. There are a couple colors that I dislike even when I'm knitting with them, like, oh, but I like yellow. To me, it reminds me of like happiness and cheerfulness. People that wear yellow are very cheerful in my mind. And so I like it. I just hardly ever wear it. And it was very fun to knit with that. And I think that I will probably occasionally wear it. I don't think I'll get a ton of wear out of that shawl, but I think it'll be something when I'm going to go out with friends, or if I have to go out to a social function that I'm nervous about, I will put on my yellow shawl and I will feel cheerful. That's really good. I just opened it for the first time. It's white nectar. That's so good. Anyways, so then I pulled out what I've been doing, my oldest things I've been working on, and I'm going to finish them up. So in my Bags by Awesome Granny hot air balloon bag, so I love the zipper pull. It's nice and it has substance to it, so it pulls along very nicely. In here I have my Hiro sweater, and it is being knit out of Spud Chloe sweater, which is a great, wonderful yarn if you live in warmer climates because it's 50% wool, 50% cotton. Oh, and I forgot to bring it down. I can't believe I did this. So last time you saw it, I had one sleeve done and then half of another sleeve done, and then I had, see this, there's a marker in here, but that's not right because I've been moving it up every night, and I had about that much done of the body. But I forgot to bring the sleeves down. The sleeves on the cuff band have some some color work, and it's white with color work going up to about a couple inches into the arm, and then it is the solid navy. So since I picked it up this week, I finished half a sleeve. I knit several inches, probably like 6, on the body. And then I just have a few more of the body, and then I will be joining the sleeves and the body together to knit the color work yoke, which I have some fun colors. I have this, I have the white, I have a kind of a sherbet orange, and then I also have aqua, very bright, not bright, but very aqua tealish blue, which I think will be pretty. And it's knitting up faster now that I'm working on it almost exclusively. This is my nighttime project because I like to have projects that I work on at different times of day. when the air conditioning is blowing at night and we're sitting in bed watching some Sherlock or, you know, documentaries on the Roosevelts, all kinds of tons of different things that we watch. We're pretty random. Anime. It's nice to have something warm in your lap when the air conditioning is blowing on you. I also always have a shawl wrapped around my shoulders because you guys know I love my giant worsted weight single ply shawls for in bed. And then next thing, I pulled out my next pair of socks to work on, and this is in a Freckled Whimsy newspaper print bag, and I love the vintagey newspaper print, and this color is gorgeous. And in here are my socks, and this is some KnitKnerd with K's yarn, and I am making a sock pattern for my son that was given to me so sweetly by Beady Last G, and this is her sock design, and it's called Zigzagamond socks. And this is part of the great sock needle experiment that I'm doing, where I'm trying out different kinds of sock needles to see if I just dropped a needle to see if I find any sock needles that I absolutely love that I wouldn't have known about. So these ones that I'm trying out with this sock are the Addy Flip Sticks. And I talked about it when I first started trying them, that they're super light, and when I first started knitting with them I didn't think I would like that, but I do like it now that I've gotten some more weight from the yarn of the sock on it. But these are for my son. Oh, that color, doesn't that look great? I love that. It reminds me, the colorway, she does a lot of, she's on Etsy, and she's a local friend. She does a lot of pop culture things. I believe this is maybe a Cyndi Lauper album cover. My big sister loved Cyndi Lauper when I was little. I remember she was a teenager and I was in elementary school, and she liked that. But so it kind of reminded me of superheroes. So these are for my son. And the funny thing is, I was trying them on his foot. Hey, kids just grow so fast, and his foot has gotten so much larger. So I want to make these a little bit bigger so that they will fit him for a while, and they need to be almost as long as my socks are. And I also have noticed that he has a very high arch, so it's tight getting it on right around here. So next time I might add in a few more stitches. But yeah, I'm making the size 56 count. And let me put it on my hand so that you can see the actual pattern. In person, you can definitely see it very well. And I was trying to take some pictures on Instagram, but the yarn kind of, see it in person, I can completely see that it's making, yeah, you can kind of see. It makes zigzag diamond patterns in there. So it's a patterned sock, and for those of you that love the monkey sock, this is a great pattern for you then, because it's another 12-row repeat and it's easily memorizable. And I'm sure if you had sock yarn that wasn't so slippery, you could cable without a cable needle. I have a cable needle, but it's mainly because this yarn is so slippery, even though it's just a merino nylon. I'm not sure why, but it's some of the slipperiest, and it kind of slips off, but it's super soft and nice. And so those are my socks for my son, and those are what I'm working on mostly until they get done. And then in my next thing, in a bag that I got at the Hill Country Weavers Retreat, I like pig paws, and I cannot lie. And it's in a lovely shade of green. This is my Marcella Rose shawl or cowl, which is done like a shawl cowl. Whoop! About to fall off the stitches are about to fall off the needle. Just don't want that to happen. But it is knit. It was an O-Loops kit, and O-Loops, I don't know if any of you do this. O-Loops was one of those yarns that I almost had a collection of. I would get it, and then it would just sit there, and I'd be like, oh, it's so pretty. But I hadn't really knit with it much. And now I am knitting with my O-loops, and it's great because my collection is going down. And so I was wondering, what yarns do you guys collect, if you do at all? Maybe you get yours and you automatically knit them up right away, or if there are any yarns that you kind of love it and love the color palette that the dyer tends to pick, so you just kind of buy it because you love it. My O-loops has beautiful ones, and I've been resisting all their last yarn updates because I can't do it right now, but gorgeous, gorgeous yarns. And another one that I collect is that I've collected in the past when I was buying yarn was Neely's Knits. She has great fun colors, and I have quite a collection of hers, and I need to knit up. But this is going to be hard to show you because there are so many stitches bunched on this needle. Looks like this. So it starts off variegated in this pattern, and then goes to textured, and I'm almost done with it actually. I have 1, 2, 3 more sections and a big bind off, because it increases a whole bunch before you bind off. So that hopefully will be done very soon, so I can pick up another shawl to work on. And it's a very nice yarn, and the colors, they're just very soothing to me. These are very like colors you would see out in nature, which I find very soothing. And the kit that I got was called Fish Farm, and I know it's not available anymore because the thing with their yarns is that they're only available for a little bit and then they're gone, but that's what they're look like. So, and then my last work in progress is actually a new one. I know I said I wasn't going to cast anything on, but Mina so kindly gifted me, as I talked about last week, her sock pattern book, Beyond Vanilla Socks, and I know she's having a knit-along right now for her socks, so I wanted to join in. I know that I won't finish them in time, and I know that I'm the worst person about posting pictures of my finished objects in other knit-alongs, but I wanted to cast on and just knit. Now I'll post pictures to Instagram and such, but it's kind of funny. It's adorably sweet. My husband has been wearing all the hand knit socks I wear for him all the time, and I don't think it's recent. I think I've just really started to notice because I don't know, but it warms my heart so much to see him walking around, and he comes home from work and he has on these hand knit socks. And he's even taken to wearing his ones that are supposed to be just for in the house because they're sport weight socks to work. And I live in Texas, so you can imagine how hot sport weight socks would be in the summer of Texas. So I need to knit him more. And he was saying that he really wants a whole bunch more. And I've always known that he has. So I think I went through my stash, and I think I have several pairs that I can knit up for him because he doesn't care about colors. He probably wouldn't wear neon pink or purple, but I don't really have a lot of neon pink yarn or any neon pink yarn in my stash. So he's very flexible about what he would like, what he will knit, what he will wear. And so this is some yarn that was sweetly gifted to me by my first roommate ever at a knitting retreat, L. Simon 1. I believe that's her Ravelry name. And she was my first roommate ever, and she gifted me this sweet little thing of needle organizer and then this wonderful yarn. And this is Lorna's Laces, and it is the Soulmate base, which is 55% merino, 15% nylon, and 30% Outlast. And this is my first time knitting with Outlast, so I'm very interested to see. It feels basically the same as other yarns, but I know it's supposed to help with keeping your feet cooler and these things. So I'm going to have my husband wear them when I'm finished and see how they last, and see how if he notices any difference between his other socks. So the color for this is bow tie, so I had to have it in my Doctor Who bag. And this is a three monkey stitch and spin bag. I believe I got this years and years and years ago. It has a fun little window in the front, and then TARDIS inside. And I just started these I think I caked it up on Friday and cast it on last night. And then, oh, and I showed my husband, because the Beyond Vanilla pattern book part 1 has 4 patterns in it, I showed my husband all 4 patterns, and I asked him which one do you like best, and he picked Driftwood, which I think has the least number of projects thus far. But this is what the yarn is knitting up. It's gray, like a brick red, and then a blue. And you can kind of see, yeah, there you go. You can see the stitch pattern that is forming, and I'm doing the largest size for him. And these are another part of the Great Needle Experiment. These are some knit picks, and it's just their nickel-plated ones. And it's a size 2.25 US 1 needle, and so I'm not loving the cords on them a lot. They might loosen up over time. They have a lot of memory, and then the joins, I have to push the yarn over the joins, but I love the needle length, and maybe you could help me with this, because maybe you know. But I was thinking about why I don't like magic loop, because so many people do. I don't like that the needles are so long. When I knit my socks, I like to have the needle fit all in my hand. And if the needle is super long, then it doesn't, and it hits right there, and I don't like that. And I'm excited to try the 9-inch circulars that I bought back in April to try for this great sock needle experiment, because I think I might like those because of the smaller little needles. I tend to like the little needles. And so, do you know of any sock ones where the needle is shorter? See? That's just it's less than my fingertip length. Most of them have a lot longer thing. So like if you get a longer cord, like if you're doing magic loop, the needle is normally naturally longer. So I got 16-inch needles in this just so I could have the shorter 16-inch cables, just so I could have a shorter needle tip, because that's what I really love. So that is all of my works in progress that I worked on this week. So as I said, there are more, but I'm working my way through them, because I was just knitting on everything a little bit, but now I'm focusing to get the whips off the needles, even though I did cast on anything. And then on to spinning. So I finished spinning the mystery fiber. Still a tiny bit damp, but it's so beautiful. I completely understand now why people love natural, undyed yarns. Let me see if you can see the variation in color there. I don't have a nice focusing camera, so you probably can't, but trust me, it's beautiful. And we have been having, oh, I wanted to say at the beginning of the podcast, everyone who's having horrible, horrible flooding, I know we are, not necessarily in our house, but in our region, because gosh, if we had flooding in our house right now, I would not be podcasting. I would probably be in a corner crying somewhere. But anyways, I know there's been horrible flooding in Germany and France, in different various parts of Texas, and I'm sure other regions that I don't know about. And so I just hope everybody is safe and dry, and that your yarn is not been through flood damage, because that would not be fun. And so this yarn was actually plied because we've been having horrible, horrible rain and terrible storms, and power has been out a ton this last week. So I felt very quaint. I was plying this by candlelight, which I don't know. I felt very, like hearkening back to a slower time, but I overplied it a little bit because I couldn't see what I was doing, basically. And it is not as smushy and soft as my handspun normally is. It's a little bit denser. And so I'm thinking that's maybe what is the difference between my handspun and a lot of other handspun. It's mine, I just don't ply as tight. So since it's not what I would consider perfectly done, I'm probably going to be keeping this for myself and not giving it away. I'm not sure yet, though, because somebody might love it. And the next thing I put on my wheel is for a friend. It's for our friend Mina, and she's the one that gifted me her pattern book, and she's also the one that so kindly sent my son a project bag when I ordered it back from her months and months ago, like November or October. And I have had this fiber since 2015, and when she sent that back for my son, I was like, I want to spin her something as like a thank you, and it's taken me a while to do it. But this is some Gourmet Stash in the 7-layer rainbow cake, and it is super fine merino, and Angelina, and it's spinning so fun. It's almost like a speckled dyed rainbow because there's so much weight. And that's what they look like. And I don't know if she's dyeing fiber anymore, but you pull these apart, and that is how you can spin them. So I typically will then break it up again just to have the most consistent even yarn for me, fibers prep, but that's how I'm doing that. And it's 2 ounces, so it should spin up fairly quickly. And then my next spin after that, I wanted to ask you guys about, because we had 2 more people become patrons this week, and so I'm going to spin up some fiber for a Patreon giveaway. And I wanted to do a poll up on the Ravelry group and get you guys to say like which one you like the best. But so this is some Moon Rover fiber, Moon Rover, and then this is some Teenage Mutant Ninja Angel from Nerd Girl Yarns. Those be Nerd Girl Yarns under the poll. And then the other fiber is some Three Waters Farm, and this is in the Spring in My Heart. It's beautiful. So I'm going to put a poll up, hopefully. If I remember, if I forget, somebody please yell at me in the Ravelry group. Be like, hey, weren't you going to put up a poll? Because I'm terrible at remembering things. But yeah, so you guys can vote on which one that you would like, and that will be a hand-spun gift for the Patreon. And I also wanted to say a huge thank you. There were 3 donations on the blog this week for the donate button, and now I will be able to send out the Read Knit Cowl prizes. So let me get into group news. For the BookishStitcher group on Ravelry, BookishStitcher podcast group, we had our Read Knit Cowl, and it is done. And so the prize for that was some hand spun, 3 skeins for 3 different people, and 3 bags. And the bags are all the same. But I am going to show you the hand spun, and if your name is called that you are a winner, whoever responds first in the Ravelry thread, not in a private message because I want it to be able to be seen that you responded first, will get their first pick, and so on and so forth. As who can, whoever's last gets the last one. That's the only way I can think of to do it fairly. But so in chronological order or numerical order, sorry, the winners were post number 19, Debbie Amy, and she is from Pennsylvania, and she read Treachery at Lancaster Gate, and she knit a hat for it. So your choices would be, this is the colorway American Spirit. So if you want that American Spirit, this is the colorway. Okay. And these are all from Brenda, A Good Yarn, so thank you so much, Brenda. This is Dilicious Fiber, so say that one. Dilicious Fiber. It's beautiful. And this is 100% superwash merino. The American Spirit one was 100% BFL, if that matters to you. And then this one in the colorway Borderline Romance is 100% Polworth. So you can pick which one you want, whoever responds first. So there's post number 19, W.I.P. Then post number 56 was a winner, and that is Violet Bohemian, and she read Jane Eyre, and she knit a beautiful shawl for that, and she is from Istanbul, Turkey, so that's really awesome. And I wonder if it's hot there. I imagine it is. It's hot here right now that the rain is stopped for right now. And then the next post that won was post number 105, Stitches by Lena, and she read The Lake House and knit a shawl, and it didn't say on her Ravelry where she is from, so I'm not sure where I'll be sending this yet, but I believe with the donations they should have enough to send out the prizes. So thank you so much, you guys. It's nice that now when people write to claim the prizes, I can tell them, hey, I can send that out to you, instead of, I will send that out to you whenever I can. And I also sold some of my project bags, 4 of my project bags on a Ravelry D-Stash. They went super fast in an hour, which was very nice. And those, so I sold some of those, and that would pay for Ellipson this next month. So that's great. So this whole month is done, and it feels very nice to have that. And so, yay. And I think I actually have enough left over from selling the project bags that I may treat myself to a pattern. Oh my gosh, it's already at 30 minutes. I need to go faster. Okay, so the Read Knit Cal is done. The Great Sock Needle Experiment is going on right now, and that's going through the entire summer. And I said that there was going to be a prize donated by my friend Mandy, who is Mandy Pinecone, and she's doing a project bag, and she's going to like help let the winner kind of pick a little bit of what they like, which is so sweet of her. And then I picked out something from my stash, and I'll probably get other things from my stash as prizes, but I just wanted to show this one. And this is a sock blank from Gail's Art, and I know she does amazing stuff. And this, since the sock needle experiment, and you don't have to finish the sock, it's just, you don't have to post a picture of your finished sock, just post a picture of the needles that you experimented with, because maybe you experimented and you hated them, but just show a picture in the FO thread of the ones that you experimented with and that you have a sock actually on them. You couldn't do like, I experimented with these, but there's no sock to show you. But so since it runs through the summer, and what's the next season after summer is fall or autumn, so I thought that this would be perfect for the winter because they could knit it. There, and this is called The Fallen, and it's gorgeous fall colors with leaves. It's autumn colored. So that will be one of the prizes for the sock knit along. And then the last thing I believe that I have for group news, oh, 2 more things. So there's the 1,000 member giveaway going on right now, and I might leave that open. It might be fun to draw the winners for that on my 100th episode, because I will have 100 episodes coming up. That feels kind of like amazing. But so I have a thread for that in the Ravelry group, and the winner will get to choose, or I'm going to pick some winners because I think it'll be fun to have, because it's just me knitting or spinning for you, so I can pick a few winners, maybe 3 or 5, and it'll be fun because then I'll get to know 3 or 5 of you even better. But so the prompt for that in the Ravelry group is to tell us a favorite quote of yours. And my friend Kellyanne, who I met at Knittin' in the Mitten, I'm just going to pick some different quotes each time and share them because there are so many great ones. But this one I just wanted to share this week. But I was reading through the quotes, and she picked this one, and it automatically made me tear up. She said, the quote is from Les Mis, and it said, "Don't you fret, Monsieur Mohius. I don't feel any pain. A little fall of rain can hardly hurt me now. You're here, that's all I need to know, and you will keep me safe. And you will keep me close, and rain will make the flowers grow." And that's such a good moment in that movie, isn't it? I automatically started tearing up when I saw that. So thank you, Kellyanne, for sharing that wonderful quote. And there's lots of great quotes, and there's some funny ones, serious ones, thought-provoking ones. So thank you, everybody, for sharing those. And then the last thing for group news is that we have a winner for the Schmancy shawl that was donated so kindly by Marcia Ferry Little, and it's a gorgeous shawl that she designed. And the winner for that was post number 12, who is Tesoro Stitchery. So Tesoro Stitchery, and everybody else, just get in touch with me if you won something. And I believe that that is all for group news. Now for books this week. We have our June short story read along, and my friend Amy Loris, who hosts Knit Theory, picked this month's short story. And I've already read this, but I'll probably reread it because it's one of my favorites. But she chose The Yellow Wallpaper, and it is a gothic short story. And it was so funny because I've been reading a whole bunch of books on World War I and World War II, and there's been some intersection of the concepts mentioned in The Yellow Wallpaper in one of the books that I finished recently, and it was very interesting. And when I review that book, I tabbed it so I can talk about that on the podcast. But I believe Amy heard me I reviewed The Yellow Wallpaper October 2015, so I believe she heard me review it and wanted to read it. So that's the one for this month, and it's very good and very thought-provoking and a little bit creepy, which I like. Speaking of a little bit creepy, the book for this week is by Shirley Jackson, and it is We Have Always Lived in the Castle. So I saw this book somewhere, I can't even remember now, but I saw it with this exact cover, and I wanted to read it. But every time I would go to the bookstore, it would be with a different cover, and I didn't want to get the book with a different cover. I wanted the book with this cover. And so I think it was months and months. I got this book in 2015, months and months before I found one in a bookstore with this cover. And I had heard about this book. It's kind of a cult classic, I guess. But the idea behind the book is there is Mary Catherine, or Mary Cat, as she's called in the book. This is her sister Constance, and then they also have in their house their Uncle Jillian. And Mary Cat's whole family has perished in an unfortunate poisoning incident, which is blamed on Constance, but Constance comes from the trial and doesn't get blamed. They said that she didn't do it. She's found not guilty. And so she goes home and she lives in her castle. It's like a mansion. And they're like the wealthy people of the town that the entire town has always hated. And the town just kind of believes that Constance got away with murder, so they all hate her. And Uncle Julian just kind of, he's just kind of a background character. He doesn't, personality-wise, he's very just kind of, he's not always there. He kind of lives in his own world. He's writing a book about the whole incident and stuff like that. And so, Constance is kind of the backbone that takes care of all of this. And Mary Cat, and you probably, she looks, to be a little bit creepy, doesn't she? And knowing what I knew about her from just reading the excerpts on the book flap, I expected her to be a more mercurial character, to where she would have drastic mood swings and such, but she's very whimsical, and she kind of lives in a make-believe world of her own making. And their cousin comes to the house to visit one time, and they haven't had anybody come to the house from their family, and it's cousin Charles, and he decides to stay with them, and Mary Cat is like, this guy's got to go, and so she starts doing all these horrific things to try to get him to leave the house. And it ends, I won't give more away, but there's a very tragic thing that happens. And it's just kind of, so I thought from the cover that it was going to be a very creepy, scary book. It's not in a direct sense very creepy. It's more psychologically, like if you're thinking about it, it's creepy then. It's not overtly creepy. But it's super short, and I read it, I think, in 2 days. And I just wanted to read it because I knew that, it's a cult classic. So I just wanted to read this quote from the back flap, because they have, people will come and visit them, friends, and they always offer them tea. And the poison was found in the sugar bowl that the whole family died from. And they will always offer their guests tea and stuff like that when they come over, and nobody ever wants sugar in their tea. But so it says, You will be wondering about that sugar bowl, I imagine. Is it still in use? Are you wondering, has it been cleaned? You may very well ask, was it thoroughly washed? So, yeah, it's good. We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. So that's all I have this week. And I wanted to thank everyone who has been posting in the book thread on the Ravelry group, because there are so many great book suggestions there. If you're looking for some summer reading, go and check out that thread. That thread's been very active recently. And I'm actually going to go and peruse it a little bit, because I would really love some recommendations for funny, happy ending books, because I have been reading a lot of World War II and World War I books. And while I believe it's very important to know our history, they're sad. And I think I spent a good while of Memorial Day, which feels appropriate, crying because I had finished a book about World War II and one of the characters that I didn't want to die died. And so if anybody has any recommendations for happy, uplifting books or funny, comical books, I would love them. And that's all I have this week. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week and you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye guys.